Well, guys, we could have a really funny situation tomorrow. I say funny because it will make Boris Johnson look like a right pillock, but the status quo we find ourselves in now will continue in everything but name for the most part, I expect. So, while it is funny, it's still not a good thing. It is predicted that the Tory rebellion on tomorrow's vote to bring in this new lockdown they have called the tier system will force Boris Johnson to need Labour votes to pass his bill, which I obviously expect will happen despite some Labour MPs saying they won't vote for it because they want the current lockdown to continue longer. Richard Bergen, the prize-winning Pratt, released a statement earlier saying he won't vote for the new tiers because he wants a longer national lockdown. Not really surprising from this socialist tosspot, but I guess at least there is some opposition, even if it plans to make the same mistakes the government already has. It should be clear to anyone now, though, that these politicians all live in a fantasy land with no idea how the real world even works. But if the government relies on Labour votes to pass legislation, all authority and legitimacy in them has gone. Labour will have a monumental stick to beat them over the head with, even though they will also have voted for the measures and the British public can rightly say it is not supported by the party that was elected on their votes. If 100 Tory backbenchers revolt, then like Maybot, Boris Johnson does not have the support of his party, like he no longer has the support of the people. But obviously, Labour are even more deluded than the Tory government, so they will spite themselves to have a line of attack against the Tories in the future. Because let's be honest, Labour have hardly had a good year, and reports today suggest it could get even worse, with thousands of members expelled in the coming months. Add to that the fact that they are unelectable even with the piss-poor government's actions now. Obviously, it is possible Boris Johnson and his bullshitters can convince enough Tory MPs to back the plan and it scrapes through without the need for Labour votes. But as it stands, that is not looking likely. The cost-benefit analysis is due out today, so we will see what that has to say, and I will update this video when I know more. I am expecting some made-up figures to blag the rebels into voting for it, since the government has used made-up figures the entire time and has been caught out every single time it has. If only we had an impartial media, this would all be over by now. As we don't, we have the Welsh government banning pubs from selling alcohol and forcing them to close at 6 PM. Oh yeah, and let's not forget, banning all indoor leisure activities. What was the actual point of their fire break then? Talk about admitting your lockdowns don't work, but doubling down on the bullshit until you can find a way to cover your ass appears to be their plan. If you ask me, they're a bunch of fucking scum, the lot of them.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.